Welcome back, everyone. Let's pick up where we left off, shall we? Chapter 2. In the lonely hours of the morning, Emma jerks awake in the dark, gasping. It takes her a few moments to remember where she is, to get the outlines of her body solid. She's all right. She's home. Her t-shirt is damp. She's safe. Breathe. She lies there with her eyes open, listening to the sounds of katydids outside. She hasn't had a bad dream in months. This dream was not Cooper's fault, although it's hard not to feel resentful. Emma allows herself to clutch the resentment tight for the space of a few heartbeats, then deliberately releases. It's okay to acknowledge the emotions, but that sort of thinking is not useful to her. She flicks the switch on the lamp on the nightstand, throws off the bedclothes, and goes to change her shirt and collect her robe. Downstairs, the kitchen of her parents' house is lit up as always. Emma fixes herself a glass of milk with one of her mother's chocolate chip cookies. She just sat down at the kitchen island when her older sister, Roberta, shuffles in. "Don't eat all the cookies. It's after midnight," Emma points out. "Teen Magazine says I can eat as many cookies as I want after midnight." "Teen Magazine," Roberta humps, opening the fridge for milk. She pulled a quilted nylon dressing gown over her men's flannel pajamas and blondie t-shirt. "Fine, but you gotta help me bake replacements tomorrow." "I can do that." "I'm bummed you're not staying the whole week." Summer classes." Emma eats her cookie. Robbie pours milk into a glass and returns the carton, careful not to bang the fridge door closed. If the door bangs, it jostles the Boston fern their mother has balanced in a saucer at the top of the fridge. "You're not going to tell Mom and Dad about the Fed guy, are you?" Robbie finally says. "It's not worth freaking them out." Emma goes to the sink, takes an empty glass from the draining board, and half fills it with water. "You just wanted to ask me something." "New set of questions?" "No, weirdly enough." Emma walks to the fridge and balances on tiptoe to pour the water from the glass into the soil around the fern. "It was more like a job interview." "No shit." Robbie leans against the counter and sips her milk. "That's different, right?" "I wouldn't tell Mom and Dad. They would most definitely freak." Emma places the glass in the sink. "It was just a conversation. I said no." "Is that why you're down in the kitchen after midnight eating cookies?" "Hey, you're here with me." Robbie grins. "I'm providing moral support." Emma knows this is only partially true. Her sister developed insomnia when Emma went missing. Even 2.5 years after her return, Robbie's sleep problems have lingered. The toll hasn't been just on Emma. For a while there, it was like the whole family needed therapy. "I just said no," Emma repeats gently. Robbie nods. She picks up her glass and heads towards the hall. "They flew a Fed guy from Virginia to speak with you? Can't fault them for effort." "He drove." Emma picks at the crumbs from her cookie. "He drove from Virginia. He didn't fly." "Man, that's a drive." Robbie pushes back her mass of dark hair with one hand. Emma had hair like that once. "He must have really wanted that conversation." Her sister waves, then wanders back to her room along the hall. Emma sits on her stool, staring at the cookie crumbs, the Boston fern, the pendant light above the kitchen island. Cooper drove from Virginia. Suddenly, she knows what it signifies. "I will go the extra mile for you," it says. "I wouldn't ask a recruit to do anything I wouldn't do myself." He expects her to drive back in return. He was telling her the way was open. On Saturday morning, Emma helps Robbie bake replacement cookies and helps her mother plant seedlings. Petunias, mostly in flower boxes around the house. Then she goes to the barn, where her father is cleaning the air filter on the tractor. "How's it going, Emma Ann?" She's careful to reply without hesitation. "All good, Dad." "The rabbit's running okay?" "It's probably due for a new carburetor." "The carburetor's fine, Dad. The car's holding up." "Glad to hear it. You You want to pass me that can of dust-off on the bench?" She passes him the dust-off, and later there's a family dinner. Everything about being home is comfortable and safe, except for the fervency of her mother's mealtime grace blessing. It's like the world never changed. Hours later, when Emma's wrenched up in bed, choking, she realizes the thin, high tinnitus in her head is not tinnitus, and it's not just going to go away. She changes her shirt in the dark, pads downstairs, slips a fresh cookie from the tin, and encourages herself to consider the problem from all angles. Cooper talked about a partner, a unit. The idea of being part of a team is tempting. It's the isolation of the thing that eats away at you. Being alone on the island of the mind. The number of people who have brushed up against what she's experienced and are still breathing, still functioning, is almost infinitesimal. So the concept is appealing. A team of other people to bounce ideas off, to share misgivings, to share the load. But Emma has no sense of what a team might look like. And that horseshit about saving lives? Emma used to think she could have saved the others, the other girls, if only she'd run faster and gotten help quicker. But on her therapist's suggestion, she read the police report on Huxton, and she doesn't believe that anymore. She's wary of that response in herself now. She's alert to guilt. Guilt doesn't help anybody. So it's not guilt tugging at her with tiny hooks, she tells herself, but rather the idea of research. New information is key. If she could play a part in gathering that information, if they could spot these guys more accurately, find them more quickly, then yes, other potential victims might be spared. Emma sits under the pendant light for some time. Then she uses the phone in the kitchen with the long curly cord. The call picks up after 2 rings. "Cooper." His voice is raspy, but he sounds alert. "I'm in." "Miss Lewis?" "I'm in," she says. "I'll join the project, the unit, whatever it's called, but I won't join the bureau. I want to go back to OSU once the interviews are done." She hangs up, not waiting for his reply. Immediately, she feels a sensation like her soul is flying out of her chest. Only when she catches sight of the digital clock on the microwave does she realize it's 3:30 in the morning. I know that chapter ended abruptly, but thank you for listening in, and chapter 3 will come soon. Good night, and sleep well.